Hey vlog, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. We are joined by Cash today and Oakley is down on the floor. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different and be kind of vulnerable with you guys. Share a little bit about me and how we got to this point. All of the things, the trials and tribulations that I had to go through in order to have this beautiful, wonderful life that I get to live today. I'm very blessed. So yeah, let's get into it. I am 27 years old. I will be 28 in October. Go Libras. We kind of have a bad rep. I live in North Carolina currently. I was born in South Bend, Indiana. That is by Notre Dame College, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the area. I was raised mostly by my grandparents. I love them dearly. My grandfather had passed in 2020, and that was a really hard loss for me. But my grandma, she is everything. She's my best friend. She does everything for me. She goes above and beyond. Anything I could need from her, she's willing to give it her best shot. And I'm so appreciative of her and everything that she does for not only me, but for both Colton and I. So with that being said, my mom, she had me when she was very young, so a week shy from 21. She was still very irresponsible, just all the things when you're 21. So I remember my childhood being like bouncing around. So whether that was like following whatever relationship she was in, what that kind of looked like growing up, that my grandparents were really the only consistent house or routine that I knew. So I spent a lot of time growing up with them, which I'm so grateful for. I mean, as much as I wish my grandpa was here now to see all of these beautiful chapters in my life, I'm so grateful for the ones that we spent together when I was younger. So fast forward, I went to elementary schools, obviously, but I went to a few, which was difficult for me, bouncing around school to school. So I went, if you're familiar with the area, I went to Monroe, that's in South Bend, and then I went to Elm Road Elementary as well as Bittersweet. So 3 different elementary schools just within that like period of my life. It was challenging, you know, always being the new kid, trying to morph into whatever environment you were kind of like dropped into. So making friends was difficult until I found like those people that clicked. So I went to Schmucker Middle School. We kind of like landed over there in that Osceola area, if you're familiar or know what I'm talking about. So we landed there. I went to Schmucker and then went to Penn High School. And that was a really hard experience. I don't know if hard is the right word to say, but it was not fun. So at Penn, you were sort of either like the athlete or you were popular, and you had all of the things. They kind of went like hand in hand a little bit. I was neither of those. So I just kind of put my head down, did what I needed to do to kind of survive. I was good in school because I knew that if I wanted to go to college, I needed to have the grades to make it there. So I really, like I said, put my head down, got through it, and did what needed to be done. On the backside of that, I was in at that point, a long-term relationship with someone who had a life that I kind of dreamt of. He had a family, a stable family, really strong unit there, and I never had that. So I kind of like latched on to that, and we spent the better half of probably, I think it was like 7 years together. And so that was a learning experience. At that point, I thought that that's what love was. I accepted that love of, you know, the form that he could give me at that time. And I thought that was everything. You know, that was my saving grace. And him and I started out as friends, and then we kind of just progressed through life. I think it started in like middle school. And what do we know about ourselves in middle school and trying to navigate life, and then through high school? So while in high school, I turned 18 my senior year, and that's when my life kind of like took a turn, I would say. So when I turned 18, end of senior year, I was kicked out of my house, and that was a lot. So I had to navigate what life meant now. Again, I was put into survival mode of like, we need somewhere to sleep tonight, we need to eat something, and not really knowing what direction my life was going to go in. So I'm forever grateful for one of my great friends, Alyssa. She let me crash on her couch, along with another, handful of friends who were great to me and opened up their homes, along with my then boyfriend. So I had a really small support system at that time, and I really kind of had to rally and figure it out myself, because I am a very headstrong person. I'm independent. I want to prove everyone wrong. And so like now was my time to shine. So I ended up working 2 jobs. I was in the restaurant industry. I did a little bit of childcare and nannying, kind of did what I had to do. And then I got my very first apartment in downtown South Bend. So it was like income-based, Section 8, all of the things. I was just grinding away, and at the end of the day, I was happy to have a place of my own and say, hey, look, I made it. So we finished out high school, I got my apartment, and then it came time for going to college. I knew that I wanted to never be like my parents growing up. There was so much more that I was after. So at that point, I thought college was the answer and the end all be all. I think now if I were to revisit those times, I would have taken a little bit more consideration of my other options that were out there. But nonetheless, I stayed local, and I went to IUSB for 4 years, and I got a degree in a bachelor's of social work degree. And I was so happy with my choice. I loved social work. I loved helping others. It was everything to me. So I actually ended up doing an internship with Department of Child Services my senior year, I think it was. And then I went to work for them, and it was great. It was hard, it was rewarding, but I loved it. So I worked for them. I met some great people. I helped and rescued some children who I will never forget, out of situations that are always going to be burned in my head. I mean, those things that you never see or you never hear about, and experiencing them firsthand is life-changing. So I did it for about 2 years. I was contracted, and then at the end of my contract, I sort of just weighed out my options and was like, what more do I want out of life? So I sat down, and I was still with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I knew I wanted out of Indiana. I was born and raised there. I'd lived my whole life there, and I knew that there was more for me to explore. So we moved out to Phoenix, Arizona. A very short time that him and I remained together. Once moving out there, I think I had learned there was different things that I wanted. There was a different type of love I wanted. I felt like I had entered in a new chapter or season of my life. And that is what it is. I mean, relationships end, and you meet new people, and you start other relationships, and for a while I feel that I was painted as a bad guy, or I was painted as the villain in some people's stories, and that's okay, because I was finally at the point in my life where I was choosing Katelyn. I wasn't living to please other people or anything like that. I was finally choosing me, so I was okay with being the bad guy. Fast forward a little bit, that is when things started to blossom between my now husband and I. Colton. He is great. And so him and I lived out in Arizona for about 2 years. And living there was probably the best 2 years of my life looking back. It was happiness, it was sunshine, it was warm, it was a whole new town. And I don't know if you've ever been out to Arizona before, but coming from my small town of South Bend, Indiana, out to Phoenix, I just felt so small. And when you feel small, you are like wanting to grow. And I was just curious again, like I was happy, and it was something new. It was something nobody ever in my family, or like nobody in my family had ever done. And I was full of life. So we stayed out there. We ended up getting our first dog together, Oakley, and we still have him, obviously. He's the love of my life. He's so sweet, the most perfect boy in the world. So I went like full dog mom mode. While we were in Arizona, I started a job where I could work from home. And it was the best thing. So I got out of family services. I kind of went more into the ignorance is bliss mode, where I didn't have to deal with that frontline trauma, I guess I would say. So I kind of got the best of both worlds. I work from home. I just got the cutest dog. I got out of a long-term relationship. I was finding myself again while it was 100 degrees and we had a backyard with palm trees in it. So I was just living my best life. So like I said, my relationship with Colton kind of blossomed out there, and he worked in the aerospace industry while we were there. It was great. He loved it. And then COVID happened. So during that shutdown, we got to spend a lot of time together. I think it was about 6 months where he was unemployed and I worked from home. So we were just together like every day, doing what we could, hanging out, exploring this whole new city that we were in. And I think it was one of the best things for our relationship. So we joke around like, still, how did we survive that? Like, you didn't get sick of me. We didn't argue. He wasn't sick of me. And so I think it was meant to happen. So fast forward, about 2 years later, we decided to move across the country to North Carolina. So we landed it's a town called Mooresville, and it's about 45 minutes north of Charlotte. So if you're familiar with that area, there's Lake Norman. It's a big racing town. It's called like Race City, USA. So Colton got into the NASCAR industry and now an engineer on a truck team, and he travels about 23 weekends out of the year to all the races, which is so fun for him. I get to join whenever I want. We do a lot of the closer races together. So I will go, whether he's in Charlotte or like Talladega, I can travel there and kind of get the VIP experience. I love it. I've taken a couple girlfriends with me, and it is just the most fun experience. If you are not into NASCAR, I highly recommend it. It is a full out hillbilly fest. That's what I would say. It is so fun. No judgment, all gas, no brakes. It's the best way I would describe it. So he does that now. I'm still working from home. We got a second puppy. His name is Cash, and he's the sweetest boy. When we first got him, he was nothing but trouble. So we adopted him, and he was about 4 months old. And like any puppy at 4 months old, there was still a learning curve. He was naughty, and we still joke around and say that he's naughty now, but he is so sweet, and just wants to snuggle with you. So that's where we are now. I would say everything that I went through is worth it. I wouldn't take back any lost friendship, any lost relationship, any challenge that I went through. It was 100% worth it. I have the greatest group of girlfriends. So I always say quality over quantity when it comes to friends. I am a very close-knit person, so I have my girlfriends back home who will rally and support me through whatever endeavor I have, or whatever adventure I want to go on, or whatever season of life that I'm in. And then I have a handful of girlfriends here in North Carolina who would do the same thing. So I really believe that everything that I went through, I was meant to go through. All of the people I've met, all of the experiences in life led me here, and I'm supposed to be here. So if you paid attention to any of my other vlogs or have listened and kept up, Colton and I got married on New Year's Eve. And once we got married, I entered into this new era of life where I just feel fulfilled. I feel like I've been chosen. I was chosen before we got married. But being married, I feel that I don't have to be worried about like my person anymore and finding that person. And that is a lot to do with childhood trauma as well. But I finally know what a healthy, stable relationship feels like. And it's such a good feeling. And I know that I deserve it. I have a lot of empathy for women and girls who stay in relationships because that is what's comfortable to them and that's all they know, and they're scared for what may happen or what their life may look like if they do leave, because I felt all of those emotions before in my life at one point too. So I'm here to say it does get better, and there are, more mountains you will climb, but like what's over the edge of that mountain or all of the challenges is so worth it. I'm grateful for every single one of my friends, all of my now in-law family. They're wonderful. Just my circle of people. I'm so grateful for it. And I have the best dogs and the best humans. And so I'm trying to live my life and be grateful and romanticize every single moment of every single day, even the ups or even the downs, more so the ups, because it's all happening for a reason. So if you're here, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. I am really excited for this new vlog endeavor, and I hope you'll follow along. If you have anything that kind of like related to you throughout this story, or have any tips and tricks, or the area, or you need recommendations for out in Phoenix or in South Bend, or anything that I can help with, just kind of be a sounding board. I am happy to listen. I'm happy to offer advice. But yeah, so if you're here, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next vlog. Bye.